ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनं शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। नारायणं गुरुं वन्दे शरण्यं भक्तबान्धवं गौरमनुविष्टं पूर्णं राधादास्यं प्रदायकम् रूपानुगचार्यवर्यं रूपमञ्जरिप्रेष्ठकम् पतितपावनबन्धवं युगाचार्य नारायणम्। पञ्चकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे श्यामसुन्दर श्रीकन्धशेखर स्मिरहासरि मुरली मनोहर राधिकर श्रीकमं कृपानिधे स्वप्रिया चरणा किङ्करीं कुरु। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वृन्दाय तुलसीदेव्याय प्रियाय केशवास्य च कृष्णभक्तिप्रदे देवी सत्यवत्याय नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द। बोलो हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So first of all I begin offering my most humble obeisances to the dust of the lotus feet of Paramadatam Shri Guru Padma Nitalila Pravishta Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Ashtottara Sata Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj, and to all, and to my most beloved Shikshan Sannyasa Guru Nitalila Pravishta Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Ashtottara Sata Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Bharati Goswami Maharaj, and to all Shri Rupandu Gauriya Guru Varga, to all Tridandi Sannyasis, Brahmacharis, Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, and to all the assembled devotees here today, and most humble obeisances. So, by the causeless mercy of Srila Gurudeva and all Mahabhagavatas Acharyas, we are able to assemble here one more time. So, what is the speciality of Srila Prabhupada? What is his moods? What is his teachings? We have to understand all these things. So first of all, we have to go back to the time of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the Rupa Goswami Pad, he came to establish the Manobhishta of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I think everyone have heard that famous shloka, Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantika. So this shloka is saying that Srila Rupa Goswami Pad, he is the one who understands the Manobhishtam, the heart desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, he is establishing that in this world. So, at that time, there was so much preaching all over India. They established this proper Gauriya Siddhanta at that time. But after Mahaprabhu's disappearance and also the Goswami's disappearance, there was a little gap of darkness in our Gaudiya Sampradaya. And it was a time that so many Apasampradayas, means non-bona fide schools, they have manifested. So, later on, Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur, he appeared in this world And he is known as the Bhakti Bhagirath, the one who reestablished the flow of Shuddha Bhakti in this world. And he published so many books, and he published so many types of songs, and he did some preaching. But he could not do everything alone. He needs some help, someone to help him to spread this Gaudiya Siddhanta again in the whole world. Then Srila Prabhupada came as his son. And Srila Prabhupada, he came to re-establish this Gaudiya Siddhanta, this Mahaprabhu's Manobishta. So it is a very important point that Srila Prabhupada has come to not only establish but to re-establish this Chaitanya Manobishta. If we say re-establish, it gives more speciality. You have to understand this. Because it gives the full responsibility to Srila Prabhupada. It means that Srila Prabhupada is the chosen one that will re-establish this Mahaprabhu's mood, Mahaprabhu's conception in the whole world. But not only that, he came also to defeat and to cut all these apasampradayas. Srila Prabhupada, he established in this world also a very important concept called Yukta Vairagya. This Yukta Vairagya means the proper renunciation. How can we renounce the material world in a proper way? Because so many people think that this material world is useless, our material senses are useless, they have no need for using all these things. But the conception of our Goswamis is different. This world is not useless. Our senses are not useless also. Everything in this world belongs to Krishna. So everything has to be used for Krishna service. Same way, our senses, they serve the purpose of understanding who is Krishna. Without our senses, how can we see the deities? How can we hear Harikatha? How can we perform Kirtan? Not possible. But the difference is very subtle. When you try to satisfy your senses, then this is called lust. But if you try to satisfy Krishna's senses, then this is called prema. Atmindriya pritivancha tare bole kam, Krishnindriya pritivancha dore premanam. If you try to satisfy your own senses, then this is called lust, kam. But trying to satisfy Krishna's senses, this is called prema. So Srila Prabhupada, he is the embodiment of this Yukta Vairagya. Because he has manifested this proper behavior that he can use any type of object in this world for Krishna service. We have a very beautiful picture of Srila Prabhupada. He is with his sannyasi dress, but with a very big, beautiful palito, very nice shoes, and one nice turban. This is the proper symbol of Yukta Vairagya. Why? Because if he is not dressed properly, he cannot preach to the high society of India. He cannot preach to the royals of England who were at that time living in India. So by that connection, Srila Prabhupada, he was able to send afterwards his preachers to abroad. There was a very famous freedom fighter in India. His name is Subhash Chandra Bose. He was fighting to get India independent from England. But at that same time, Srila Prabhupada was also preaching. You can now imagine what was the political, social scenario at that time in India that Prabhupada was preaching. Big problem. So much tension in society. And this Subhash Chandra Bose, he came to Srila Prabhupada and said, "What are you doing? I want to free India from British control. So why don't you come and join my mission?" Then Srila Prabhupada said, "Oh, my fight is much higher than yours. You try to free everyone from clutches of British, but I try to free everyone from the clutches of Maya. So better if you join my fight." And then Srila Prabhupada told him, "You know what Bhagavad Gita says? At the time of death, what you are thinking is what you are going to become. So now you are 24 hours thinking about the British people. So if you die thinking about British, what will happen? You take birth in England next, and then you become against India. So you have not understood what is the meaning of life. But my fight is to prevent everyone from taking birth again and again. Either in India or in England or in any place. I want people to go to spiritual world." In this way, Srila Prabhupada said, "You should come in my fight." And he said, "No, I have gone too far in my fight for independence. Now I cannot change." So this is Srila Prabhupada's mission. How to make everyone to understand what is the meaning of life. But not only that. The main purpose of this Gauriya Math is how to make everyone make servant of Srimati Radhika. Gauriya has two meanings. Gauriya means those who are following Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and those who are following Gauri, Srimati Radhika. So Srila Prabhupada, he is a very dear maid servant of Srimati Radharani. Nayana Mani Manjari have come from Sri Goloka Vrindavan here to help all these fallen jivas. Because he understands what is the meaning of Mahaprabhu's mission. Mahaprabhu, he is Parama Karuna, supremely merciful. What is the meaning of supremely merciful? Is that person who is giving what is highest to the lowest. Therefore you see Mahaprabhu's Vigraha, he is like this, with both hands. He is giving what is highest to the lowest people. What is highest? Service to the lotus feet of Srimati Radhika. And what is lowest? All these Badajivas from Kali Yuga. But this is Mahaprabhu's Audharya. Audharya means magnanimity. Extremely mercy. For Mahaprabhu's pranam mantra is Namo Mahavadanyaya. Krishna Prema Pradayate. He is Mahavadanya. He has become the greatest giver. Krishna is Vadanya, but Mahaprabhu is Mahavadanya. Why? Because he is coming with the Mahabhava of Srimati Radhika. Srimati Radhika, she is the most merciful one. Without Radharani, Krishna cannot be so much merciful. She is very merciful. She has so much love to give to everyone. In this way, Srila Prabhupada, he has a very particular, mood that he wants to go where it is more difficult to preach. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur told Srila Prabhupada, don't open mutts, monasteries. Just do namahatas and stage programs, but don't open monasteries, ashram. So many problems will come. But what Srila Prabhupada did, he established Sri Gauriya Math. Not only one, 64. Also his Gurudev, Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, he instructed Srila Prabhupada, don't preach in Calcutta. This is a very dangerous place. And what he did? The second math he opened in Calcutta, Bagbazar Gauriya Math. Why is that? Is he not following the orders of his gurus? Is he disobeying their gurus? Never. He is understanding the inner moods of their instructions. Because he knows those most fallen places, Mahaprabhu wants to give mercy. Mahaprabhu himself, he appeared in West Bengal. And he spent also 18 years in Orissa, in Puri. West Bengal is in India one of the most degraded places, where the most bogus things are happening. The British, they conquered India with a bunch of Bengalis. So in the same way, there is a very famous poet called Rabindranath Tagore. He received the Nobel Prize. And he was going to abroad, traveling in Western countries. So Srila Prabhupada one time asked him, I'm thinking to also go and preach in Western countries. So what do you think about that? Then Tagore said, no need. You cannot succeed there. Already so many sadhus are coming from India and they have spoiled everything with misbehavior. So now nobody has more faith for the Indian sadhus. So then Srila Prabhupada said, no, still I think that I must go. I must go, no means I think that we should preach there. Then Tagore said, okay, only if a person like you go, then I think it's possible. Otherwise, nobody else can do. Then Srila Prabhupada said, I am not going, but I will send someone just like me. No problem. But please tell me, which country should I go first? Then Tagore said, don't go to England, because they think that we are a colony and they not have faith, they don't listen to us. So don't go to England. Better you go to Germany, because Germans, they like Vedic culture. Even Hitler, he is using the symbol of swastika. So better you go to Germany. Then Srila Prabhupada said, okay, thank you very much. Then he called to Srila Bhakti Hridaya Bhavan Maharaj, who was his sannyasi and who he wants to send to preach there first. And then he told to Srila Bhavan Maharaj what he spoke with Rabindranath Tagore. And then he asked to Srila Bhavan Maharaj, so what do you think, where we should preach first? And Bhavan Maharaj said, England. Then Srila Prabhupada said, I was thinking the same. Why? Because if we conquer England, which is the most difficult place, then we can conquer everywhere easily, no problem. Same thing, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, he also taught, if he can conquer America, then he can conquer the whole world. And in the same way, my Parangurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyana Kesha Goswami Maharaj, he also taught, if I conquer Mathura, then I can conquer the whole world. When he opened the mat in Mathura, Keshavji Gauriya Mat, many God brothers asked him, Keshav Maharaj, why you opened mat in Mathura? Why not Vrindavan? And he said, no, I want to conquer Mathura, because the heart of the Mathura Vasis is very hard. They are very proud for their scholarship, and they don't know the glories of Srimati Radharani and Brajavasis. So then, he told to my Gurudev, you should be in charge and you should preach there. And if you conquer the heart of the Mathura Vasis, then you can conquer the whole world. And Gurudev accomplished that very nicely. Also, there is a very important thing, that next year, 2021, is a centennial festival of my Gurudev. His 100 years birth complete. So I hope that here in Ukraine we also have a good festival. So in main countries we are organizing big festivals. So I think Ukraine also should have one. So in this way, this is the Vaishishta of Srila Prabhupada. So then when Srila Prabhupada, he wanted to send Srila Bhakti Hridaya Bhavan Maharaj to preach in England. He wanted to give him a very good shoes to wear there. Because you know, all the sannyasis of Srila Prabhupada, they were very much renounced people. Very simple. They never wear shoes, even in winter. They never wear kurta and woolen sweaters. Because the rule is that you can only wear dhoti and chadar. But now, Srila Bonu Maharaj has to go to preach and go to airports and meet with dignitaries, government people, educated people. So he needs to be like Srila Prabhupada also, very good dress. So he called his secretary, Kunja Vihari, and then said, go to market and bring the most expensive shoes and give to Srila Bonu Maharaj. So then, Kunja Vihari, he brought these shoes to Srila Bonu Maharaj and then told him, you should wear and bring in front of Srila Prabhupada and show him how is this shoes with you. So then Srila Bonu Maharaj, after a long time, he wear shoes and he came in front of Srila Prabhupada, he paid his obeisances, and Srila Prabhupada is very beautiful. Now I see that you have renounced your own renunciation for my service. Try to understand this conception. Renouncing your own renunciation to serve. This is Yukta Vairagya. The proper renunciation. You are not attached even to your own renunciation. Only your attachment is for Guru Seva, Mahaprabhu Seva. My Gurudev said that if you are not able to change your mood to serve your Guru, you will never be able to get mercy. But most of the time we try to adjust Gurudev's order to our moods. But it's the opposite. So in this way, Srila Bhaktivedanta Bonu Maharaj, he went to preach on behalf of Srila Prabhupada in the Western countries. So this preaching of Srila Prabhupada, it is to fulfill Mahaprabhu's prophecy, Mahaprabhu's Manobhishtam. What is the prophecy of Mahaprabhu? Mahaprabhu told, Prithiviti aach jato nagaradigram sarvatta prachar hui vimoranam. In every town and village of the whole world, my name will be heard, will be preached. But Srila Prabhupada says, who can preach? Not everyone is able to preach. If you have life, you can preach. So Prabhupada says, if you have life, you can preach. But everyone has life? No, everyone can preach? No. This life means Shakti. This life means Vidyavadu Jivanam. If you have realization of this transcendental knowledge, if you have connection with Swarup Shakti, then you can preach. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada, he said there are 3 types of mridangas. You can preach with 3 types of mridanga. The first is the drum, the mridanga instrument. We will help to propagate the holy names. The second mridanga is called the Brihat Mridanga, is the book. The book can be distributed to so many places and that knowledge will always be there. But the third mridanga is the most powerful. These are the sannyasis, are the preachers. Because they can play the instrument, they can sing, they can chant the holy names, they can give harikatha from book, and they can move everywhere spreading this. Harikatha, this is the third type of mridanga. Most powerful. It can change everyone's heart in 1 minute. In this way, Srila Prabhupada, he empowered his sannyasis to preach everywhere. So this is how Srila Prabhupada, he multiplied himself in so many Prabhupads. And who established this mission of Mahaprabhu in Western countries? The second Prabhupada. That's not meaningless. Why he was being called Prabhupada? Because actually it is this Prabhupada. That's why Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, he did not oppose to be called Prabhupada. even when his disciples, they were singing Jaya Prabhupada, he was also singing Jaya Prabhupada. Because he's giving everything, all the glories to his Gurudev. And Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, he said that my Gurudev, he has done all this preaching. I did not do anything. And he's sending to me all these boys and girls to help this preaching. Yes. So in the same way, when Srila Prabhupada, he started doing his Nam Yagya, chanting of 1 billion names. Took him almost 10 years to complete. So after he finished this Yagya, this Nam Yagya, he got darshan of Panchatattva, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Gaurkishordas Baji Maharaj, and all of them gave instructions, you should go for preaching. Then Srila Prabhupada said, but how can I preach? I have nothing. No money, no manpower. How can I preach? Then Mahaprabhu told him, don't worry. I will send you everything and you can accomplish. But just go and preach. So in the same way, all our Gaudiya Acharyas, they also think that Srila Prabhupada is actually helping in doing this preaching through them. So, it's very important for us to understand who is Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. By his causeless mercy only we are able to be here today. This whole Gaudiya mission, this is only happening due to his endeavors. Therefore, our Sampradaya has been taken his name also. Not the name of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but the name of Srila Prabhupada. Because Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he gave some directions, but the implementation was done by Srila Prabhupada. And he put his own mood and his own style. Therefore, our Sampradaya became Shri Brahma Madhva Gauriya Saraswata Sampradaya. We are in the line of Shri Brahma Sampradaya from Adiguru Brahmaji. Then we come in the line of Madhacharya. And then after Madhacharya, then we have Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, the name becomes Gauriya. And then later on we have Saraswata. Saraswata means coming from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So it's very much important that we should absorb the moods and teachings of Srila Prabhupada. If we don't understand Srila Prabhupada, we cannot develop properly our bhajan. So Srila Prabhupada's teachings, his character, it should be very much alive in our consciousness. And there should be a systematic study of Srila Prabhupada's teaching. Because everything in Gaudiya depends on his understanding. How he designed this mission. How we should behave in this Gaudiya mission. How should be our attitude. How much we should be broad-minded. Only connecting with Srila Prabhupada. So first we have to understand what was the context in which Srila Prabhupada appeared. What was the political situation, spiritual situation. Then we can understand how he influenced at that time the people. So from the spiritual point of view, at that time there was a very difficult period for the Gaudiya Sampradaya. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was endeavoring to preach, but there was so much Apa-Sampradaya. And he was practically alone. There was few Babajis doing isolated bhajan, but no one was preaching to the public. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he started writing books, writing songs, and speaking Harikatha. But he was unable to establish properly due to lack of manpower. One of his strategies was to invite the Mayavadis and the Sahajiyas to sit with him in the same stage, so he could have public to speak. If he would sit alone, then no one would come. So in this way, he let the Mayavadis speak, let the Sahajis speak, and then last he is speaking. By and by the public would hear some different philosophy. And then he was also traveling in the villages and trying to also preach to the simple-minded people, like Nityananda Prabhu did. But it was very much difficult to do alone everything. So then he was praying to Krishna, please, I need somebody to help me in this mission. I need someone who will be very strong and strict and will be able to establish this systematically. So later on, Srila Prabhupada came as his own son. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he is known as Bhakti Bhagirath. Just like Bhagirath Maharaj, he brought the flow of Ganga river in this world. Same way, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he brought the flow of Shuddha Bhakti again in this world. But now it has to be systematically spread everywhere. So when he got Srila Prabhupada, then he understood that he is the person who can help me. So Srila Prabhupada, he born in Jagannath Puri, and when he was 6 months old, there was Rath Yatra festival. And when the chariot of Jagannath was coming in front of the house of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he stopped there. And for 3 days, the chariot was stopped there. You know, Jagannath's chariot has no brake. But thousands of people were pulling, even the elephants were pulling, but the chariot cannot move. Because Jagannath only moves by his own desire. So, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he took the opportunity to perform the Annaprasana ceremony, the first grain ceremony of Srila Prabhupada. Then they cooked sweet rice, they offered to Jagannath, and he gave to Srila Prabhupada. Then they brought Srila Prabhupada baby on top of the chariot and put him at the lotus feet of Jagannath deity. At that moment, the garland of Jagannath fell on top of Srila Prabhupada. When garland falls, it is a sign of auspiciousness. It means that Krishna wants to give mercy to that person. That devotee is very dear to Krishna. So then that was a sign. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur understood that Srila Prabhupada is very special. Therefore he gave the name of Bimala Prasad. Bimala means the consort of Jagannath. It is ultimately Radharani. Prasada means mercy. So this boy is coming directly from mercy of Srimati Radhika. So his mission is none other than to establish this Gauriya Sampradaya. He is Nitya Siddha Parikar, eternal associate of Srimati Radhika. Nayana Mani Manjari, his name. Nayana Mani means Radharani's glance towards Krishna. This is called Nayana Mani. So, Srila Prabhupada, he is bringing this power of Radharani's Kripa Drishti. Kada Karishasi Hamam Kripa Kataksha Bhajanam. Radharani, when you be bestowing your merciful glance upon me, how this Kripa Drishti will come to us? How? Only through Guru. Only through Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada, he established this Gauriya Math with only one goal: to make everyone made servant of Srimati Radhika. This is the school of Srimati Radhika. Gauriya means the followers of Gauri. Gauri is name of Radha. So this is a training center of the Manjaris. Manjaris are the teachers. Only Manjaris they can preach. Our parampara is main, all the Manjaris. Manjaris are very bold, very strong. Even the Sakas, the friends of Krishna, they are not so strong like Manjaris. They have only big body, but no strength. Manjaris, they are very delicate, very small, but lot of power. They are all like Simharupine. They have all Swarup of lion. Like Jamuna. Very small, very skinny, but very strong. Open mouth like Nisringadev. This is Manjaris, all Guru Varga. They come in challenging everyone and also dealing with everyone's anarthas. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada, he very boldly established this Gauriya mission. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was doing his preaching, trying to adjust all types of publics like that. And he was giving Harikatha every day, and many people was coming to hear his Harikatha. At that time, Srila Prabhupada was already like 14, 15 years old. So one day, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he had to go outside of Puri for some work for 1 week. Then he requested Srila Prabhupada to continue giving lecture on his behalf. So first day, everyone came to listen to his Harikatha, but he spoke so strong and so boldly that next day only half public. And third day only 1/3 of public. And fourth day, very little people. Fifth day, no one coming. When Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur came back, he was very upset. See, what you have done with my preaching? Prabhupada said, I just spoke the truth, but you cannot speak the truth to these people like this. Srila Prabhupada was saying, if you smoke, if you eat fish, if you do all these bad things, you cannot get Krishna, you have to go to hell. And everyone was very angry with Prabhupada. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur thought, oh, if I keep this boy here in Puri, he will spoil my preaching. I will send him to Kolkata. So Srila Prabhupada was so bold that he even one time challenged the guru of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Sri Vipin Bihari Goswami. In his Nara Lila, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he took Diksha from Sri Vipin Bihari Goswami, who was in the line of Janava Thakurani. But he was not as high as Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So one day, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was paying pranam to his Gurudev. And Vipin Bihari Goswami, he put his foot on top of the head of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Oh, Srila Prabhupada, he became angry. See, how can you do like this? How can you put your feet on Bhaktivinoda Thakur's head? You don't know who is he. So he chastised Bhaktivinoda Thakur's guru like that. He's not ordinary person. So, after Srila Prabhupada, he went to Kolkata, then he was studying, and he was offered the chair of astrology department in Kolkata University. He denied. He said, I have not come to count stars. My mission is much higher than that. So he was highly respected at that time. Only 15 years old. He was already master in Sanskrit, in Bengali, in English, astrology, Shastra, everything. He was studying with the highest Pandits and astrologers of India. And he got the title of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. Very qualified boy. And also very austere boy. He had a club with his friends, and they used to compete about who can do more austerities, who can learn more verses, like that. And Srila Prabhupada, he was the number one. No one could beat him in anything. He was the most austere and renounced and learned. And most devotional also. So, when he was very young, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he found one deity of Kurmadev. When they were digging to foundation of house, temple. Then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he gave this Kurmadev deity to Srila Prabhupada and teach him how to worship. And Srila Prabhupada, he very strictly, he started to worship this Kurmadev. But why? What is the speciality of this Kurmadev worship? This is not any ordinary type of worship. Sometimes the devotees, they may think that, oh, Kurmadev is Vaikunthavasi. Why Prabhupada has to worship Vaikunthavasi? Why not worshipping Gaur, Radha Krishna? This is our Gauriya's Ishtadev. But there is a very, very special point about this. So our Srila Bhakti Vilas Bharati Goswami Maharaj, one disciple of Srila Prabhupada, he explained this very nicely in one book. First of all, we have to understand that all the different incarnations, they have origin in Goloka Vrindavan. All these forms, they not only exist in Vaikuntha, they also exist in Vrindavan. They are moods of Krishna. You know that everything has origin in spiritual world Goloka Vrindavan. In every other manifestation, this is just something which is what? a transformation of that mood, that high mood. For example, Matsyavatar, the fish incarnation. In Goloka Vrindavan, when Krishna is playing the water sport with the gopis, he is diving in the water and he is swimming like this. And he is catching the lotus feet of the gopis underwater. This is his Matsya form. He is playing like a fish. And all the other incarnations also like. You find some relation in Madhura Lila. Like Nrsimhadev, he is with his nails scratching the belly of Hiranyakashipu. Same way Krishna with his nail is scratching the breast of the gopis. So you can find so many different correlations like that. It's very beautiful. You can also find more in this book Hamsadut by Srila Rupa Goswami. So in this way, this Kurmadev worship of Srila Prabhupada, it has some vaishishtya, some speciality. We know that there are 12 rasas, 5 primary and 7 secondary rasas. 5 means Shantadasi Sakya Vatsalya Madhurya. And 7 means Hasya Adibhuta, Bhoy, and so many others. So, Adibhuta ras means the astonishing, wonderful ras. The presiding deity of that ras is Kurmadev. So the function of Adibhuta ras is to enhance, is to increase the other 11 rasas. So Adibhuta ras plays a very important role in all the other rasas. So what is Krishna's most astonishing lila, Adibhuta lila? What is that? It is actually when he manifests as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lila, Krishna he is relishing Radha Bhav. And when Mahaprabhu he is completely absorbed in that ecstasy of that Radha Bhav, then what happens with him? He will manifest this Kurmadev Rup. All his limbs go inside body. His arms go inside, his legs go inside head. So the speciality is that Srila Prabhupada he came to reveal what is this speciality of Mahaprabhu. What is the glories of Srimati Radhika's love. What Radha can do with Krishna. She can completely change Krishna's nature. How Radha is superior. Everything is, inside this very simple worship of Krishna. So there are many deep things that we by and by we understand. I don't know everything. Also, by and by I am also learning. Bhajan is not something that you learn like in school. You have to practice and realize. So in this way, what our acharyas are doing, this is never something which is superficial or meaningless. Never. It has always connection with Madhurya Lila. Always. So in this way, our acharyas, they are always thinking how to spread the glories of Braja Gopis. Somehow or other. Even if they are speaking about Vaidhi Bhakti or they are speaking about Sharanagati, they always end up in glories of Gopis, especially Radha. This is speciality of Gaudiya Acharyas. So Srila Prabhupada, he is nothing less than that. He is the one who is bringing this in this world. So Srila Prabhupada, he especially during Kartik month, Damodar month, he would always speak about Radharani, Radha Dasyam. He would always sing very special kirtans about Radha Dasyam. And become very much absorbed in this mood of Radha Dasyam. But he was also very careful when he was approaching the general public. In front of unqualified people, he would never open this very precious Harikatha. Therefore, because he was cutting jungle, he forbade any of his disciples to speak this in public. Even sometime they asked him, Srila Prabhupada, can we give lectures on the 10th canto of Bhagavatam? He said no. Read Prahlad Charitra 100 times, Dhruva Charitra, Uddhava Sandesh, and all the basic foundation Harikatha. Because Srila Prabhupada, he was establishing these principles against so much Apasiddhanta. So, in this way, Srila Prabhupada, he established the proper way of preaching. So now, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he gave Srila Prabhupada this kurma to worship. Also, he gave him the Sriha mantra and gave him Harinam Mala also. But now comes the question, why Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur did not give Diksha initiation to Srila Prabhupada? He was definitely qualified. So the point is that at that time there was the caste Goswamis, the Jati Gosais, who were like maintaining this family parampara. Means father is Guru, son will become Guru also, and then son of son will become also Guru, like that. And all disciples of father will become also disciples of the son when his son will be Guru. But this is unauthorized process. This is the Jati Gosai Sampradaya. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was very strongly preaching against this system. Although he is qualified to give Diksha to Srila Prabhupada because he is Mahabhagavat, but still he wants to avoid to follow this because people, they can think he is doing the same as the Jati Gosai. And then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he say, no, you take Diksha from Babaji Maharaj, Gaur Kishwaradas Babaji Maharaj, who was totally renounced person and also Mahabhagavat. But Babaji Maharaj, he did not want to give Diksha to Prabhupada. And he told Prabhupada, no, I don't want any disciple. He was like Avadut. Avadut means the one who is not following the common sense rules. His behavior is like surprising. He can do anything, anytime. Unconventional. But Srila Prabhupada, he was decided, no, Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave order and I have to take from you. If you not give me, then I will give up my life. He started doing this Chandrayana Upavas, fasting according to the phase of moon. As the moon is decreasing, the quantity of food is also decreasing every day. Then until you stop eating, and then, but when Babaji Maharaj saw, no, this boy is very much determined person. He is going to die. Better I give him Diksha. So Srila Prabhupada was the only disciple of Babaji Maharaj. Now comes the point, how Srila Prabhupada established the proper way to choose Guru. To choose Guru is the beginning of your spiritual life. You cannot make mistakes. So how Srila Prabhupada is deciding to find Guru? So Prabhupada, he defines himself as someone who likes to find fault in everyone. But finding faults in others is not good according to Vaishnava etiquette. But Prabhupada is saying, if I find fault in my Guru, then this is very bad. Therefore, I will choose only that person who is 24 hours absorbed in bhakti. Even if for 1 second he look towards Maya, then I will not accept that person. So, we should not find faults in other devotees. This is not good. But no, we should try to find faults in Guru. Because if you find, then he should not be your Guru. Guru should be perfect. This is Srila Prabhupada's very strong example. Everyone knows this shloka from Gita, Apiche Suduracharo. This shloka is saying that even the most abominable person, if he is doing one-pointed bhajan to Krishna, he should be considered sadhu, because one day he will become pure by that bhajan. Krishna says, very quick, he will become purified because he is doing one-pointed bhajan to me. Therefore, he is sadhu. Even though if he is making so many bad things, still Krishna says, respect him as sadhu. But my Gurudev is saying, it is okay to apply this verse to any type of sadhu, but you cannot apply this to Guru. Guru cannot have faults, commit a single mistake. So apiche suduracharo is not for Guru or any person who is doing bhajan. But Guru has to be impeccable. So Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, he also explained in a very nice way also this. He says that according to Vaishnava culture, at first you get the position and then you develop the qualities of that position. But in the mundane society, you have to become first qualified, then you get the position. You cannot become a doctor without first getting qualification of doctor. You cannot come to the hospital and say, hey, I'm going to practice. By and by I will become good doctor. If some people will die, no problem. This is for good reason. But in Vaishnava culture, no. First you become that position. Then by and by qualities will come, qualification. Like at first you become disciple of your guru, then you take diksha. But does not mean that you are perfect disciple and that you have even understood what is diksha. You start to develop that quality of disciple by and by. But officially you are disciple of guru. So also someone may take sannyas, for example, like myself. Does not mean that I am already perfect sannyas. My Gurudev say, I am giving sannyas for you to become sannyas. So by and by those qualities will come to you. Same thing if you want to worship Thakurji, you become pujari. But does not mean that you are a perfect pujari. Or if you want to become a preacher, you can start being a preacher. But you develop the qualities of preacher along the process. There's so many examples we can give like that. But Srila Swami Maharaj said, it is applicable to all devotees, but not to Guru. You cannot take position of Guru to become Guru. Cannot. But many people think, oh, I will become Guru and I will get the mercy of my disciples. Is it possible? Guru get mercy from disciple? But in Kali Yuga we have many Gurus like that. Oh, I will initiate them and they will inspire me in bhakti and I will progress by and by. First you have to become qualified. Then you take position of Guru. And so in this way, Srila Prabhupada, he very clearly established this. You should not find fault in anyone. But in your Guru candidate, you have to try to find faults. Because you cannot make mistake. Without finding proper Guru, then there is no point of starting bhakti. Another speciality also in this relation between Srila Prabhupada and Babaji Maharaj is that Babaji Maharaj was an illiterate person. And he was completely renounced and simple man. But Srila Prabhupada, he was the highest scholar from very rich and aristocratic family. But he is taking Babaji Maharaj as his guru. How? Why? To show that the qualities of bhakti does not depend on any mundane conception. High birth, high knowledge, beauty. These are not, platform for bhakti. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada, in a very beautiful way, he puts Babaji Maharaj as his guru because he has bhakti in his heart. And a very beautiful relation develops from this. Until last moment, when Babaji Maharaj left his body. And Babaji Maharaj, he told, I want that they should drag my body all over Navadvip so I will get all the dust from the dham on my body. But all the Babajis living with Babaji Maharaj, they were not in proper behavior. And they tried to give samadhi to Babaji Maharaj to control that samadhi. That maybe in future they will get a lot of money from these visitors. But Srila Prabhupada, he arrived there and he said, no one can touch the body of Babaji Maharaj. I am the only disciple of Babaji Maharaj. Then there was a big fight and police came. And Srila Prabhupada said, only those who are following strictly the principles of bhakti, they can touch Babaji Maharaj's body. So I want here that anyone of these Babajis who have not did any type of intoxication or illicit association with woman from past year or 6 months or 3 months or even yesterday, they should leave immediately. So then by and by one, left that place. And the police was astonished. How Prabhupada can do this? Then the police told, yes, now only Prabhupada can touch Babaji Maharaj's body. And then Prabhupada gave him samadhi and he told, you have to understand the mood of Babaji Maharaj. We should never drag his body in a violent way on the ground like this. This is not the meaning of his words. His body is transcendental and worshipable. So we should take his body in our head and do parikrama in Navadip, then give him some. So with the help of his brahmacharis and disciples, they did all this ceremony. So Guru Tattva is something which you have to understand very deeply. So therefore Srila Prabhupada is saying, I am Maya Rupi Guru. Means, I'm always looking the faults of the Gurus. If I will see my spiritual master 1 second deviating, I will reject him immediately. So therefore Srila Prabhupada, he accepted Babaji Maharaj after examining very carefully. But Srila Prabhupada says that lazy people, they will just be satisfied with the first option they get in front of them. They will find very, attractive personalities, and they will think they are very great, and they will immediately surrender to them. They can speak they can speak something about scriptures here and there and make a very beautiful presentation, and people become very attracted. So those who are lazy, they don't like to look more carefully and wait for some time and examine here, examine there. No, they will accept first-handed, whatever. And this type of cheaters, they will take advantage of the lazy people. So Srila Prabhupada, he used to tell one story to illustrate this type of bogus gurus. And then he was able to learn 4 words. So then he's thinking, if I will speak here and there, these words, people, they will think I am very educated, I am a very important person. So then what happened one day was that a group of bandits, they have killed someone in his village. Then the police caught him and took him to the police station for inquiry. Somehow he was entangled, and the police thought he had killed one person there. So he was taken to the court for judge inquirement. Then he is now in front of the judge, and he's thinking, if I speak in English, the judge will think I am a good person, educated man, I follow English lifestyle, so he will definitely dismiss my case. Now the judge is asking him in Bengali language, did you kill that person? And the man thought, okay, I will answer in English. I will impress the judge. And he said, yes.
И он ответил, да.
There was anybody else with you? The judge again asked in Bengali. And the man said, no. And the judge said, do you realize you have to go to jail? And the man said, very good. Jail. So these are the foolish people who think they know very much. So like that we have many types of gurus like this. They can fool the fool, but those who are intelligent, they cannot be cheated. And ultimately, he has to face the punishment of Janmaraj. One of the greatest offenses to holy names, this is to consider Guru as ordinary person. If you think your Guru is like a mortal being, conditioned soul, you cannot advance in spiritual life. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada, he is establishing this example. There is no need of taking Diksha from anyone except a pure devotee. If it's to be taken from a Bada Jiva, then there is no use. So don't waste your time. Wait for the proper personality. So we should not be proud about our education, about our birth, about our bank account. All these things are not important. About our health, about our good looking, all these things are completely useless in bhakti. I have seen one time 2 ladies discussing, and one of them was telling, no, I will take initiation from that one because he's so beautiful, so handsome. Guru? This is all material identifications. Oh, that person, he speaks so nicely. Bhagavad Katha, so beautiful. That one, he sings like a, what? Gandharva. So melodious, so sweet. But that one, he is very powerful. He has many big marts, a lot of properties. He is very rich, Guru. Oh, that one, he has millions of disciples. He must be the best. I will take from him. This is not symptom of bona fide spiritual master. So Srila Prabhupada, if he does not give us this example, how he can be our Acharya? So Prabhupada's mission is so important because he has to break with so many paradigms of society. I forgot one type of Guru to say. That Guru who knows many verses of scriptures. 10,000, 15,000 shlokas he has memorized. All these things. Nanatma pravachanena labhyo. Not by any type of mundane education, not by giving eloquent lectures, not by practicing austerities and all these things that you're going to get Krishna. How can you judge if someone is advancing bhakti? Maybe he's chanting 3 lakhs Harinam every day. Maybe he's fasting Nirjala Ekadashi all time. But the real symptom of bhakti is actually what type of feelings you are getting in your heart. This bhava is coming or not coming? That we have to check. Of course, bona fide Guru, he will be chanting 24 hours. He will learn all the scriptures also. He knows everything. And he will be very powerful and attractive also. But without these feelings, then it's not possible. How much we are advancing bhakti, we have to check. What type of feelings we are getting in our heart. How much seva vritti we are developing, tendency for service. How much we are able to connect heart to heart with Guru Parampara. So, all these things we have to check. So, Srila Prabhupada, he has to be the most powerful personality in order to establish this Gauriya Siddhanta. So he has to be the most austere, he has to be the most renounced, he has to be the most knowledgeable, he has to be the most, fearless person. Why? Because he wants to establish a very high conception, very high. He has to break with all these misconceptions that was there at the time. So in this way, only such type of personalities, they can really break these pillars of these misconceptions, like Nisringadev, destroying the pillar. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada, he used to say that we have to give up all this worldly sense perception and go very deep inside in our bhajan. Don't depend on the external vision, Srila Prabhupada said. Live inside. Live in your bhajan. Maintain relation with the world only based on seva. And there is no need for artificial remembrance of Radha Krishna's pastimes. Artificially, we should not try to meditate in this Ashtakalya Lila. Only when you become free from anarthas, when you become qualified, then you can meditate on Ashtakalya Lila. Otherwise, before time, if you try to meditate Ashtakalya Lila, what will happen? you fall down from your position. First, you have to stop doing Namaparad, Sevaparad, Dhammaparad, or Vaishnavaparad. When your heart will be clean, automatically your kirtan will bring this revelation of Krishna in front of you. First, practice Nam. First, practice Nam, chant. When you get perfection in Nam, what will happen? Then Rupa will come. After Rupa means you have darshan of Krishna. Then Guna will come. Krishna's qualities will manifest. And automatically after Guna, then Lila will manifest. The pastimes will come automatically in your heart. All perfection will come from holy names. Understand? Holy name is the first manifestation of Krishna in our life. Nam, Guna, Rupa and Lila, in this order. But if you want to jump from Nam to Lila, it's not possible. Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivriti, then Nishtha, Ruchi, Ashakti, Bhav and Prem. When you reach the stage of Ruchi, later stage of Ruchi, at that time you can have some very quick darshan of Krishna. And that will create very deep greed in your heart. And then you want to practice more to be able to see again. As you go deeper and deeper, automatically, one by one, Nam, Guna, Rupa, Lila will manifest. Everything will come by mercy of name first. So chant Harinam in proper way, in proper association, and you collect the fruits. There are 16 points that Srila Prabhupada covered just before his departure from this world. Before he leaves, he said that if I could at least perfectly deliver even one soul from this material world, I would think that my mission was successful. Actually, Srila Prabhupada, he uses the words, if I can deliver and bring one soul back home, back to Godhead. So this expression, back to home, back to Godhead, actually was created by Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Saraswati. And then Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami, he used that later on. So, Srila Prabhupada, he says that maybe many people became upset with him during his preaching. And many people consider me like their enemy. Because I was forced to speak the truth. But I had no other choice. So I pray that they should serve Krishna with sincerity. Therefore I have given so much anxiety to many people. But just because I wanted them to serve Krishna. Now they are upset, but one day they will understand. So now comes the instructions. The first one is that all of you, he's saying to his disciples, all of you should preach the message of Rupa Goswami. Rupa Raghunath means with enthusiasm. All of you should always preach Rupa Raghunath Vani. Why he's choosing Rupa and Raghunath? Why not Mahaprabhu's Vani, Gaura Vani, or any other Krishna Vani? Why not Bhagavad Gita preaching? Why not? Why only Rupa Raghunath? In Gauriya Sampradaya, we have to understand what are the glories of Rupa and Raghunath Das Goswami. Because we are known as Rupanugas. Rupanuga means that we are following under guidance of Rupa Goswami. But why Raghunath Das Goswami is coming also? Raghunath is the perfect Rupanuga Vaishnava. So, under the guidance of Raghunath Das, we will be able to approach Rupa Goswami. And also, Rupa Goswami is establishing Avideya Tattva, means what is the process to achieve our goal. And Raghunath Das Goswami, he is establishing what is that goal. Especially in the books like Vilapa Kusmanjali, he is describing the mood of being Palyadasi of Radha and how to be under guidance of Rupa Manjari. Therefore, life and soul of this Gauriya Sampradaya is Rupa Raghunath. Always keep this in mind. If you want to follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you must study scriptures of Rupa and Raghunath. I have many times explained that we cannot imitate the moods of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. My Gurudev, he very nice explained this point. Mahaprabhu, he likes to relish the songs of Chandidas, Vidyapati, Jayadeva Goswami, Viva Mangala Thakur. These four, Mahaprabhu's favorite. But what is the mood of these poets? They are songs that are describing how Radharani is worshipping Krishna. Even we know that famous story that Jayadeva Goswami, he did not want to write that verse of Gita Govinda that says Krishna is putting his head on Radha's lotus feet. So their mood is only towards Krishna. So why Mahaprabhu likes them? Because Mahaprabhu, he is relishing Radha Bhav. He is Krishna himself, but he is experimenting the mood of Radha. So therefore, Mahaprabhu likes when these songs talks about how Radharani worship Krishna's lotus feet very nicely. Mm-hmm. But actually, this is not the mood of the Rupanugas. What is the mood of Rupa Goswami, Raghunathas Goswami? They are what? Serving Radharani's lotus feet. So therefore, they are on the side of Radha. They are Radharani's Swapaksha. So they don't like to hear that Radha is actually worshipping Krishna's lotus feet. This is good, but they prefer to see how Krishna is worshipping Radha's lotus feet. This is the mood of the Rupanugas. Therefore, Mahaprabhu's mood only for him, not for us. What is evidence? What Mahaprabhu came to distribute in this world. That is what is for us. Anarpita charing chirat karunayavatirna kalo samarpayitu unatto jalarasam swa bhakti shriyam. In this verse, Rupa Goswami describes what Mahaprabhu is giving to us, not for himself. What is that? Samarpayitum unatto jalarasam swa bhakti shriyam. To distribute what? The beauty of the service towards Radharani. It means Shriyam. If you say Mahaprabhu is distributing Unatto Jalaras, this is wrong. Technically, Mahaprabhu is giving Shriyam. Shri means that beauty or that wealth of Swabhakti. Swabhakti means that bhakti performed towards Unatto Jalaras. So in this way, this is what Mahaprabhu is giving to us. But for himself is something different. So that is the mood of the Rupanugas. Mahaprabhu wants everyone to become maidservant of Radha. But what is Mahaprabhu's desire for himself? That is to relish Radha Bhav. Mm-hmm. And to understand what Radharani feels for him, for Krishna. What Radha feels for Krishna. So, this is the proper way to understand these things. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada is saying, first instruction, become follower of Rupa and Raghunath. So, you have come to Mahaprabhu's mission. You have started this Gauriya Bhajan. And you have to go deep in Rupa Raghunath Vani. Then second instruction. Your ultimate desire should become one speck of dust at the lotus feet of Rupa Goswami. So this should be our desire. How to become servant of the servant of the servant of Rupa Goswami. Always under guidance. Then number 3. Brajendra Nandana Shri Krishna. He is the principle of non-dual consciousness. And he is the object of devotion for all. Now only in third, he starts speaking about Krishna. And now the fourth is, if you want to please Krishna, then you must come under the guidance of Radha. Because Radha, she is the reservoir of love. Then, number 5. You should make always effort to worship Sri Hari and make this the only purpose of your life. And number 6, always remember this material world is temporary, not going to last forever, only lasts one day or two. So give up quickly all family attachments and transcend this world of illusion. Then number 7, maintain all your worldly obligations in whatever way you can. Maintain your duties in the best way you can. But always remember, bhakti is the supreme purpose of life. And no matter how many challenges will come, never give up bhakti. Gaur Hari can destroy all the obstacles in your life. And He will definitely be merciful and give you place at His lotus feet. Never give up your bhajan. Bhajan is your life and soul. Even if the whole world becomes against you, you should not give up. Even if you do slowly, but never give up. And always pray that Krishna should be merciful to all living entities. Pray for everyone's welfare. Jiva Doya is the principle of Vaishnavism. Mercy to all living entities. Only those who have Jiva Doya, they can preach. Krishna always fulfilled the desire of His servants. Vaishnavira Vedane Krishna Doyamoy. When Vaishnavas pray to Krishna, then Krishna will give mercy. Saranga Sharanagati Hoive Jahar Tahar Pratana Shune Srinanda Kumar. Those who are surrendered to Krishna, when they pray, Krishna will hear them. And always chant Harinam. But in which mood? In the mood of Trinadapi Sunichana. More humble than a blade of grass. More tolerant than a tree. Respecting everyone and not expect respect for yourself. And always chant, always chant. But chanting means what? Kirtaniya Sadahari, always doing kirtan. But kirtan does not mean only making sound from mouth. Our acharyas, they give special purport for this. They say that doing kirtan means always engage in bhakti somehow. You are cleaning temple, this is kirtan. You are cooking, this is kirtan. Distributing books, this is kirtan. You are speaking harikatha, this is kirtan. So kirtaniya sadahari means always engaged. You are sleeping for the sake of serving next time, this is also kirtan. If you are asleep, it's just to recharge batteries to do more kirtan, then this sleep itself is kirtan. Then we can see that uninterrupted flow of bhakti 24 hours. Then Srila Prabhupada is saying, we do not aspire for become like social workers. We know this material world has so many problems. But the real social work is what? How to change people's mind and the spiritual conception. Then now again Srila Prabhupada come back to Rupa Goswami. And again he will say, don't forget that your only identification is to become a speck of dust at the lotus feet of Rupa Goswami. Don't go against this identity. This is your treasure. And then next he's saying, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is the best of all Rupanugas. And all this Rupanuga Dhara is flowing through Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Started with him. This flow is so powerful that even millions of obstacles cannot obstruct this flow. And those who have taken bath in this river of this Rupanuga Dhara, they will always try to follow Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Now he's telling, all of you are very qualified, so very quickly you should follow this process. And now he's saying to himself, putting a grass between my teeth, I pray that I should become also follower of Rupa Goswami. So I pray that no other desire should come in my heart, only this. So then he's ending, always be attached to Harinam, and Harinam can deliver you. And the more you practice Krishna consciousness, the more your material desires you decrease. In the beginning, this philosophy looks like very difficult, but it's actually very simple, and it gives result quickly. So practice with sincerity. And by taking shelter of Harinam, all these material desires and obstacles will be removed. And the pure desire to serve Krishna will manifest in the heart. And he says, work together harmoniously, all of you, his disciples. And working together, we become qualified for the service of Radharani. Always perform Sankirtan one-pointedly, and all your goal will be achieved. Again, he's saying, hold the lotus feet of all the Rupanugas. And last, he's saying again, preach the message of Rupa and Raghunath fearlessly with great enthusiasm.
Вот.
Through this preaching, you will attain all perfection. So the first instruction that Srila Prabhupada gave, he's saying, all of you should preach the message of Rupa and Raghunath with great enthusiasm. And the last one was like the same instruction. So, this is our daily meditation. All these instructions of Srila Prabhupada, they should be our north, our guide. Not only these instructions, but all the other instructions he gave his whole life. So, okay.
А